I really want to say good things about Mega Man 7. I know that sounds like a joke, but I mean it. Would I lie to you? It's got some catchy music, interesting bosses, and, well, it's not Mega Man 8, but this boss selection. You see this? Count them. 1, 2, 3, 4. Uno, dos, tres, cuatro. Un, deux, trois, quatre. Ichi, ni, san. What made Mega Man such a great series up to this point? Of course, tight controls, good music, and creative visual design are great and all, but plenty of other games have that. Difficulty? Ha! I laugh at you, ha! No. What set Mega Man apart was its level selection, and how that mattered. Of course, in other games, you can choose the levels, but it's usually just an order and just a matter of preference. But with Mega Man, it matters. When you beat a Robot Master, you got their weapon and could use it in the next stage, and so much could ride on that. It could be the difference between a section being incredibly frustrating or a cakewalk, a boss being a pushover, or being a tedious exercise in patience. Woo! This design is one of the best examples of choice used correctly in a video game. This isn't a dialogue tree that affects the story, something that the game shows to you. These are choices that affect gameplay. You know, that thing you are supposed to control, and it leads to everyone having their own style of playing the game. Some people like to play the game just using the Mega Buster. Some people like to use the weapons. Some people like to use the rush utilities to get past trickier parts to reward themselves for earning them, while others may want to challenge themselves by foregoing them. Some people don't use Power Stone because they think it's stupid, and others know the true power which one can wield with such stones. Wabam! Look at it! Magic! Mega Man 2 has a perfect example of this type of choice within just one level. Quick Man Stage is famous for two things: its death cheese lasers and the difficulty of Captain Quick himself. Both of these challenges can be eased by Flash Stopper, a weapon that freezes time and enemies, which is sometimes useful, but you're going to have to make a choice on when to use it, since you're only going to be able to use Flash Stopper once. You might use Flash Stopper to freeze the cheese if you have other weapons that can make Quick Man easier, or maybe you're just better at avoiding the instant death du fromage and you'd rather just fight Quick Man with his weakness. Heck, maybe you go to Quick Man before Flash Man so that you can use Quick Boomerang in Flash's stage. I mean, I don't know why you do that, it seems kinda silly, but whatever, you can play how you want. Mega Man's level choice leaves room for all sorts of solutions that the player can come up with. Since the game can't rely on you having any given weapon at any given point, they have to come up with challenges that can be solved no matter what your arsenal. This keeps weapons from being simply like keys you need to access other areas. Instead, rather, the weapons are solely there to make things more easy, interesting, and fun. So obviously the thing to do when presented with this revolutionary design choice is to slice it in half, right? That's a good idea. No, they didn't even do just that. Look, I'll show you. Professor Joe Reviewer does math time. If you were to look at all the possible paths through a Mega Man game with 8 Robot Masters, you have 40,320 possible paths. 40,320 possible ways to get weapon combinations. Of course, that includes several similar paths, but let me show you something. After it cuts the 2 Robot Masters into 2 sections of 4, do you know the maximum number of paths in Mega Man 7? Did you guess? It's 48. 48. That is a fraction of the oh gosh. That is a fraction of the status quo. That's just simply inexcusable.
Joseph, professors don't wear graduation caps.
I've been living a lie. Of course, I know what some of you are thinking.
But Joe Reviewer, there's a code that lets you play with all the bosses unlocked from the beginning. Just do that if it bothers you so much.
And you're right, there is such a code. However, okay, first of all, in my version of Mega Man 7 from the Anniversary Collection, that doesn't work. So, you. But more importantly, I shouldn't need a password to unlock something that was previously a main feature of the games. But even more importantly, the level design actually suffers from this design choice. Since Mega Man 7 does kinda let you go to the bosses in any order, it really lessens the effect of having the weapons in the later levels. Mega Man 8, and goodness knows if I'm using Mega Man 8 as an example of something that you should have done, you've right flopped up. Mega Man 8 required the use of a lot of its weapons from its own first set of Robot Masters, which makes some parts of the later levels both different and fun. One of the few times Mega Man 8's departure from the rest of the series actually works out well. It makes the weapons feel powerful, feel useful, and that's something that Mega Man 7 ultimately fails at. So you see, it's not really that Mega Man 7 has bad weapons, but rather it has weapons that aren't highlighted by the level design. At least for most of the game. What irks me more about this whole only starting with 4 bosses thing has less to do with the physical nature of only having 28 paths, and more to do with the disregard for the choices and the dynamic nature of replaying the levels. Most of my favorite games in the Mega Man series are so because the games seem to go out of their way to really reward you for having weapons, and each level seems designed in such a way that assumes that you have all the weapons and you want to have fun because of it. The Robot Master stages of Mega Man 7 feel much more like they're always assuming you don't have any weapons, and having weapons is supposed to be its own icing on the cake simply because they exist, and not because they were worked into the level design. Of course, to say that there are no parts that really take advantage of having fun with the weapons wouldn't do Mega Man 7 justice. Thunderbolt turns on some cool machines in Junkman stage. Freeze Cracker turns the weather into snow so that you can see invisible things. Junk Shield, well, Junk Shield just kinda spins around you, but Scorch Wheel can light these lamps in Shademan stage. But hang on. You see, here's the part where the division becomes a problem. Those examples I just mentioned all happened within their selective sets of 4. There are a few places in the later stages where the weapons do some interesting things, but they're really minor, or just, well, I mean, this is more confusing than it is helpful. And if there's any sort of benefit from going to the first 4 stages with the later weapons, I can't find it. But why should they bother making those benefits if most of the time that won't even be an option the players take? Another reason why playing with all 8 masters unlocked from the beginning does not mesh well with the game's design is the complete elimination of certain story elements. Finding all the secret Proto Man stages can get you all weirded out when you could potentially end up at them out of order. Seriously, I feel pretty stupid burning down the forest and having to come visit Proto Man who says, "Hey, did you know leaves catch on fire? Who'da thunk?" It's also super obvious that the game wants you to get all the rush letters throughout the first 4 stages. I mean, that's where they are. Do you need a more explanation than that? The only part I'm kinda tied up on is the midsection. If you unlock the 8 stages from the beginning, you miss it, and it's just ignored. Which I feel is kind of a letdown, but honestly, it's less important to the plot than "you better tell me who you are?" ? Wily's brought back Gutsman before, and he had like 50 of them in his ceiling in the first game, so I don't really think anyone would be like, "Whoa! Gutsman, when did he become a thing? Gosh, I wish the game had explained. How could this happen? I mean, this is just so confusing." On the other hand, gun hand. This stage contains a nice little bit of throwback that was kinda lost to the Mega Man games after 3 brought back the Robot Masters from 2 as mini-bosses. There's a cool little medley remix of some of the old NES tracks, and you can see quite a few old Robot Masters back there. So even if you'll always face the mid-boss with his weakness, and even though his weakness is a stupid weapon to be fighting him with, I'd still feel like I was missing out if I didn't get to see this part of the game. Splitting the 8 Robot Masters into 2 sets of 4 is a dumb decision. No contest. I don't like it in 7, I don't like it in 8, and I really don't like it in Wily's Revenge. But that's a discussion for another day. But where 7 really fails in this is how they simply didn't commit to the idea. Castle stages require weapons all the time, and it's really fun to use your arsenal. And the castle stages in Mega Man 7 are very good at this. All the more reason to make me feel like the designers really skimped on the Robot Master stages, because they could do cool things with the weapons. And even some of their ideas that didn't work in the Robot Master stages work in the castle stages. The fact of the matter is, even though it's a stupid idea, they could have made it work much better than they did, and that's what really disappoints me. However, that's not all there is to this game. No, that would be too simple. One may think that Mega Man 7 is just the quirky 16-bit entry into the series, but that would be a catastrophic misconception. For, as you will see, Mega Man 7 is more than just a SNES game. Hey guys, thanks a budgemillion for watching this video. If you didn't catch it the first time around, why not go back and watch my first part in this little series thing on Mega Man 7? Or if you'd rather check out some other perspectives on Mega Man 7, may I suggest a healthy dose of Gemini Laser's playthrough of the game. It's got fancy gameplay and funny and well thought out commentary. Thanks a ton to my character artist, Andrew Augmoff Hull, for drawing me all these little Joe dudes, and thanks a bunch to Mike Ironfist for making the reddest background here that you ever did see. Oh, and also thanks, I guess, to that, Dana girl or whatever for having those, the speaking role thing and stuff. I mean, it's not really that important, but I mean, I guess, formality and all that, it's just, Hey, did you know that leaves catch fire? What'd you think? That was terrible.